Um, we have Joseph Powell again on Soma Mind Fusion. What is it? I only slept 3 hours. Soma, it says it right there. Soma Fusion, Mind, Body, and Soul. I'm almost gonna, I've been here for many months. I should already know the name. Sorry, Katie. Katie Camara is my producer. I'm very happy to be here. And we okay, so I promised Joseph and the public that I was not going to try to interrupt too much. So keep your fingers crossed. We're going to be talking about just the same thing from the last time, going over a few more questions that I've gotten. Joseph, if that's okay, how are you doing this
I'm
morning?
doing pretty good.
That's good. How was work?
It was good.
You're like, work is work. Um, hold on, let me just, one moment. I'm having problems with this on this end. But so I had questions about the two sets because I spoke a lot the last time over you. I'm sorry again. There was two sets of wolves, right, that we were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
The the wolves that actually took care of us as children, and then the others that we had to unfortunately get rid of. That's one question. The other one is Michael Aquino. I know Michael Aquino. He was one of our perpetrators. Um, I tell people to not give to St. Jude or anything like that because kids are being used in that area as well. And then I was placed in Head Start when I was 3 years old. So they also will go through special programs to find us gifted kids. The question was, is Michael Aquino the same one as the old man that Fritz talks about? Okay, because you send me a picture of that old guy, and he's been in my flashbacks as far as the mansions are concerned and the training. Then, what does Queen Elizabeth have to do with all this? Why did they kill Princess Diana? All these questions. What does President Bush and the Clintons have to do with this stuff? And I've had Hillary in one of my flashbacks during doing some things that are not nice. SRA crap that I really don't want to get into.
Mm-hmm.
Why? So a lot of people ask me, it's like, why do they choose us? Why are we so important to them? And I always tell them, well, some of us do come in with all of the abilities, and they create, the mind fracture through torture. I've been tortured through water, in water, drowned. How do you say, electrocuted? Um, they kill us over and over again, and then people are like, "Well, is this in your mind?" And it just gets me really upset when people do that, when they ask that, because we are actually being taken physically. Some,
Mm-hmm.
I understand, are taken consciously or whatever you call it. They're conscious, but I know I'm taken physically. And I know that when I've spoken to Penny, she gets really upset, because it's like we're being taken physically, where it's not a game.
Yeah.
Um, then they mind wipe us, and then they have these programs as kids, where to be either on a TV, or like when I was younger, I had to program some Apple computers because the Apple computers had just barely come out. Um, they'll take you out with in the school to do like different programs. Like I was in ESL. We talked about this before, or trips. They'll take you to like school trips. When I was in Head Start, they would take me to this Rio. It was like a place. We would make like these little boats out of wood, and they would take us through the woods. I don't know. There's just so many questions, and um, I just wanted to see where you wanted to start with that, and just to show the world that we're, we're not the crazies, we're not the misfits like they say. What is that? Are you showing me something?
Oh no, I just
Oh, that
trying to
thing.
keep this away from my shirt.
Oh yeah. Okay. um. Okay. So whatever you want to start with, and any other new experiences or flashbacks or memories that we want to go back and talk about.
Sure. So like, what was their specific question dealing with like the baby wolves? Like,
Yeah, they thought that it was the wolves that were taking care of us. Was it the same ones that we killed, or um, why were wolves taking care of us?
no, so so what that was is and it wasn't just wolves, like they had snakes and other animals and stuff that they put in our cribs with other kids. But the whole point of that was is that we would try to mimic them and take on their attributes, both physically or psychologically, to see if we could basically mimic what they were doing. Uh, like it's been talked about, but basically like when you go to take, say one of the kids had food and you didn't, but you were put in the crib with them, if you go to take their food, normally they would morph, their faces would morph into that animal that they basically were raised with, and try to attack you because they wanted to see if they could take on those attributes. um and they would sit there and like I remember a kid, like I tried to take his food, and he like went off, like he fucking morphed into like this kind of snake head thing. It was like real quick though, it wasn't consecutively, it was just a split second. But that was the whole point of that. I don't really know like what they were all trying to do specifically, but I think that's the main process, is because they wanted to see if we could have like, a good sense of smell, you know acute hearing and stuff like that.
I wanna say something. I'm glad you brought that up. Um, my biggest pet peeve, other than people not keeping their word, is if somebody picks up my food, I want to kill them. And
Hmm.
I don't want to cry right now, but I never understood that. Like, my uncles would play a game with me, my mom's brothers, they would play a game with me. Mira para allá, look over there, and they'd take my food. Or, ooh, that looks good. They would touch the food. Um, they would do that a lot, and I hated it.
Hmm.
And one of the things when I first was dating and when I got married was I didn't like him picking up my food. It's I get so it's an anger, Joseph. I don't know what happens to you, that from inside your stomach, like, oh, it just comes out like, don't fucking touch my food. That's my food. And now I know why. That's horrible what they did.
Yeah. I don't know, like for me, like my ex, like she used to like eat off my plate, and it used to piss me off, but I wouldn't go after her about it. I would just be like, get your own fucking food. Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's the same thing. But it's like even when I was a baby, like um my I would say my womb mother, that's what I'll call her. she, she's not really my, like, she basically gave me up and shit, but uh they starved me when I was a kid, when I was a baby, so I had like sour milk and stuff. And on top of that, like I would hoard food when I got adopted. Like I would actually hoard food. My adopted parents would like be like, where's this? And I would have it stuffed in the side of my crib, you know. and stuff like that. So, which tripped them out. They were like, what the heck, you know? And
I would hide food to like to eat it too. So
mhm,
I didn't want anybody looking at me eating. I never had a full feeling. I had
mhm.
to keep eating, like anxiety. Did that happen to you too? Like you're gonna run out of food or something?
Uh, I think when I was younger, yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
But as I've gotten older, it's I mean, I like to eat more than normal, but I don't know if that might be it or not. But
You?
yeah, you know, but yeah, so it's like I think that was in between like that program, and on top of that, just like what I had to deal with as a baby, and you know, with my birth mother, you know, so it's kind of a crisscross because like I have a different father than my other brothers and sisters, you know, and there's actually like six of us all in total. Um, my older brother and sister have the same father, but I don't. And I was born like right after my older sister. So it goes my older brother, then my older sister, then me. And he knew I wasn't his kid. And I don't know how that process worked. I know that my real mother was actually a prostitute. So it's just a trip. I got to meet my real father. He's pretty cool. He didn't remember my mother either. So I don't know what's going on with that situation. Um,
It's probably part of the Project Surrogate, right?
it might be, you know, she was heavy into drugs and stuff. So, but
Okay.
it is what it is. I got to meet her once. It didn't go well.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, you know, so it's like that's what that dealt with. And then on top of that, it's like then with the Queen, you know, I think that's just part of the group that we were with, you know, because if you go and you look up historically, like they did the royal family in England, portions of them aligned with the Nazis during World War II. You know,
Right.
that's all documented. Um, so it makes sense why they had that connection. And then it's like the Queen has a connection with what's her name? Simiase, you know, because I remember Simiase. And there was another individual that was with her that was another the heck are they called? Like I think they're Jahami, I believe, right? Um, but there was another Jahami that was with her when we did a ritual with James Casbolt.
Do you remember what they look like? Because I remember one that was one that I remember one that was really really tall and blonde, white,
Mm-hmm.
and then the other one was had black hair and was dark, and she was like our teacher. She was teaching us, well, this is where you're from. Now the tall white one, I had a really bad flashback about being in a pool. Do you remember the castle? One of the mansions had the pool, and they would do the sexual abuse there.
I don't remember that 100%, but I mean, some of the stuff you mentioned last time, I do remember actually now, which is a trip. Like I had flashbacks of it after you talked about it.
Which part? Tell me whatever.
Most of the ones that you remember me in. So it's like when you were talking about what was that one? The one with that mansion, right? Where you had the royal family, and they
Yeah.
were in, I think it was white and black or something like that. Different outfits and stuff. I remember that, and I remember why your head got cut off because you were fighting somebody outside. And there was another woman that was there. I believe it's one of our mutual friends, but she's not public. But she was with you fighting the other individual, and I think he took your head off, and like he ended up getting killed. And then like yeah, you had your head in that fucking thing. That was a pretty trippy thing to see. But yeah,
Yeah, I was trying to save this guy. He was pretty muscular, really tall. I just could see his shadow. And he had short shaven hair, and he was in the kitchen, and we were clearing the house, and I kept telling him telepathically, I said, you know, get out of the house. They're here. You know, and he wouldn't listen. And I said, duck down, you know, and when well, they took his head, and then I ran outside. There was another person in there in the house. We went outside, and then I was hiding. And there's this other person too was with me. I was hiding behind a huge like white rock, and it was like a farm kind of an area. And then all of a sudden, and I had weapons with me, like it kind of looked like AR-15,
Hmm.
between an AR-15 and an M16. And so then there's this other guy that comes, and he's telling me here, and I'm like, what do you want? Like he's supposed to kill me, right? But then he already chopped my head off. He's like, here. He hands me my head in a cardboard box, and I have to carry it. And I'm
Hmm.
like, wait, but I still have a head. I don't get it. Like, because I'm like, wait, this is this is not right. And then that's that, later on in the flashback where I go through the hallways looking for a payphone to call my mom, to tell her that I'm still alive, to not listen to, the people that say that I'm dead. And there's these people that are in the hallway to the right. If you go to the right, there's these people that have half their faces falling out. They're like zombies. And I'm just like, you know what? I better not keep walking that down the corridor. So I go to the left, and then there's a everything's white again, and there's really pretty flowers outside in the outside of that mansion part, and there's white tables, everybody's in white having tea and whatever. It was a trip because I wanted to make sure that, my aunt, one of my aunts was in the dream. I wanted to make sure that my mom knew that I was not dead. That still bothers me.
Yeah, that whole thing was awkward as shit. Is that me? Yeah, that whole thing is awkward as hell. Because after you told me about it, like I had like flashbacks of it, and I'm like, what the fuck?
I keep wondering if it was you that I was trying to help, or
I
who.
believe, I don't know, because I remember like watching the fight outside. So I don't know if maybe I don't know for sure if I was like inside, uh astral projecting myself outside, or if I was actually outside watching it happen. All I know is that individual was there to attack them or something like that. We had to protect them.
Yes,
And it's like, too bad. We should have just let them kill them. But
yes,
obviously, they have clones that are in ships in space too. So, or here on Earth, so it's like, no matter what we do, these people just won't die.
yeah. And I'm glad you brought that up with the clone thing, because they asked
Mm,
me, "Are you a clone?" And I'm like, "Well, I have many clones." Like I tell people, this is not my real body. This is my light body is stuck in under Antarctica, and they're still using it, and that's how they made all the other, clones that I have. But at the same time, you're being used. You here in this body that the Anunnaki made for us, is being used for missions as well. And to them, it's kind of complicated. And then another thing that they have a hard time with, normal people will say, is they say, well, how is it that you can get taken while you're driving? I'm like, because they just, you know, paralyzed.
yeah, they take you out of time and space. So it's like they take you out. Oh, sorry, hold on. Yeah, okay. So they take you out of time and space. So it's like there was one time that I remember, like I was driving off the freeway, and I went to go get off, and I was going too fast. And there was me and another guy that was with me at the time. And I had done a turn, but it looped around. So I ended up like going on two wheels. And I could swear that I went over that piece, but I had a like memory of being on a ship with my truck sitting in the ship, like they had picked my truck up with me and dude, and I remember like little grays being there, and then like it was just a quick flash, and then I was back where I was, and the wheels I was on two wheels, and I was able to like actually maneuver the vehicle to where I didn't flip the truck. So like they have the ability to take you out of time and space.
Mhm.
That's basically how it works. And it's like, so they take you, say, like how we were talking before, where you have 20 in back, 60 in backs and all that shit. So they take you out of time and space, but you're still out there doing your shit while you're still here. So they take you, you serve out there, and then they bring you back. But because of the way the time dilation is, you're still out there in the here and now, but you're actually here.
Right.
So, I mean, that's how that shit works.
Yeah.
It's I remember you had that question the last time I was thinking about it. It's basically how it works. And that's why sometimes if you connect to one of your altars, you can end up going where they are and taking over your clone body for, a few moments or a few hours or whatever, and then ending up back where you're at.
Yeah.
Um,
It's kind of ridiculous. Like every night, I'm like, I'm not gonna go to sleep. I'm not gonna go to sleep. They're not gonna take me. I'm not gonna go to sleep. And I won't sleep sometimes. But at the same time, they still can take me. It doesn't. I try and calm my mind down and say, I wait until like the light comes out, and then I'm like, okay, I think I could go to sleep now. And it's like 4 in the freaking morning, dude. 4:30 sometimes. But it's like the deepest, best sleep that I can have. And for a
yeah.
long time, I was waking up at 3, 3:30, 3:33, And I don't know. Lately, I've been having a really hard time. I don't know if it's the bullshit of the Schumann resonance. I don't even want to believe in that shit either, Joseph. I think it's man-made. I think because that the DEW, the energy weapons from the moon, whenever there's a full moon, they throw that crap to us. The lasers, they point them at you. They mess with they try and mess with our thoughts and our minds. And people, I used to celebrate the full moon thinking, oh my God, it's love and light, the full moon. Hey, let's manifest. Well, I actually do use their weapon system against me or whoever's around me to manifest for myself and for others, because it's actually it's a weapon, but you can actually transmute it using your powers to manifest shit, right? Do you do that?
No, I have a hard time even meditating at this point.
Me too. I don't meditate anymore. I tried it for 3 months and I couldn't sit still. Now what I do is I lay in bed, awake, and I'm asking myself questions left and right. What about this? What about that? I get a lot of downloads with that. Well, people call them downloads, but they're just like really, they're your own answers from your
Mm-hmm.
inner self, higher self, whatever, or your clones. You know, I don't do the whole meditating thing. Another thing that's really hard for, like, when I start dating, the person doesn't understand why I have to take naps during the day, or why I don't sleep. I'm a psychic medium and I'm a clear channel, and you are too. So does that happen to you where you just don't have any more energy and you're like, forget it? You gotta go to bed when you gotta go to bed, like for even 10 minutes. Does it
Mm-hmm.
happen to you? Because you have all this energy. You're trying to, people are asking you all these questions. We're not normal.
That's an
You
understatement.
don't fit into the dating scheme, huh?
I said that's an understatement. You said we're not normal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, it's so trippy because it's like, especially here recently, and I think like whatever this energy stuff that's coming in, like it's affecting people like us like a lot, so it's making us really tired. But then
Yeah.
again, they keep taking us for like Kruger program and like the
Yeah.
Kruger programs and stuff like that. So it's like you could wake up and feel like you haven't even slept, so it's kind of a shitty situation. And it's just like, because I'll wake up after sleeping like 9 hours. And I mean, I have problems too, because I can sense beings coming in or remote viewing me in my room.
Yep.
And it's like I wake up, especially if they come in astral form. because I'll wake up and be like, oh fuck, like get out of my house, you know.
Yeah.
And I'll see like light, like almost like a light energy, like floating in the room. And once it realizes I'm awake, it floats out. I'm like,
Yeah, I see that too, but mine is mostly like dark shadows, and I can see the outline sometimes.
mm-hmm,
And then it's so stupid because they send the high pitched noises to me,
mm-hmm.
and I'm like, are you guys stupid or what? You know, I can hear you. I can hear the highest ever, the lowest, and then what I do is like, I return you to sender, get the
See,
f out of here.
I thought that shit was normal for everybody.
Me
Until I
too.
realized that it wasn't. I thought that was a normal thing, that just happened normally, because like sometimes I'll get it in my left ear, sometimes I'll get it in my right ear. It's like,
Or
when
both.
you're a kid, yeah, when you're a kid and they do the hearing test, that's the
Yes,
shit that it sounds like, is the
that
fucking hearing
is.
test.
That
So I
is.
figured it was just a normal weird thing that just happens to everybody, and I'm starting to realize that that's not the fucking case.
Dude, no, I cannot stand it. And when I was a kid, my mom would say, "Oh, someone's okay. Is it my right ear or my left ear? Tell me which one it is. Somebody's speaking bad about me, or somebody's speaking good about me. If it's the right ear, somebody's speaking good about you. If it's left ear, somebody's speaking bad about you." And I grew up thinking that it was just a game. Then when
Mm-hmm.
I had the awakening in 2017, I'm like, holy F no, these mother effers, they're scanning us. They're making sure that we're back. Dude, I don't know if they're making sure that we're back into our body, right?
I think they're
Or
making
that
sure that.
they place our body in time,
Mm-hmm.
or that they're just scanning you to say, okay, what are you thinking about? Or yeah, we want to make sure you're here because your cell phone says you're here, but you're here. I don't know. What do you think? It's crazy, huh?
Yeah, that pretty much makes sense. You know, plus I think maybe it's like they're sending like information downloads maybe in
That's
your
what I'm thinking
subconscious,
too. Hmm.
and you're picking up on it, because it's like I could take, like, if there's a radio around me and say it's like really staticky, I can touch the fucking antenna and get it clear as day, where other people can't. And
Yeah,
I don't know why that is either. I'm just like,
yeah. It's
so
because
like
of
when I,
our powers through our fingers. Well, it's the electromagnetic. It's the freaking Merkaba, dude. We are the freaking Merkaba. You know what I mean?
yeah, like I trip people out, and they used to fuck with me and be like, oh, it's because your satellite dish is on your
Cabrones.
oh yeah, but but yeah, so it's just, I don't know, it's just weird how they have those little niches. But so your other question was or the other question that was asked was about the werewolf and the other wolves and the dogs. Like, so what was their question specific?
They're like, they asked why we had to kill them. Why did I kill the female wolf if she was nice to me and I was empathetic? I was very empathetic and very telepathic with her. But why did I end up killing her? Don't you feel bad?
Sure.
I'm like, dude, it was either the wolf or me
So from
or
my
my friend.
recollection,
Huh?
yeah, from my recollection, you weren't the one who killed her, because you were stuck
Well,
trying to
I
figure
threw her
out.
against the fence, and then I think it
Oh
was
yeah, that was yeah. So
was
that
it
was a
Susan that
second.
killed her?
That was, yeah, that was a like just one of the regular wolves that you threw against the fence. I
Okay.
don't know if she was talking to you telepathically, if that one was, but I know the one that looked like a werewolf, that was standing on two legs and shit. um I know that she basically was like, mother, and you were like, you tripped out and you were like, what the fuck, and you were stuck for a minute trying to figure out like what the fuck is going on,
Right. Right.
and like it was our mutual friend who stepped forward and was like, fuck this, and just fucking just went balls to the walls and like started killing them. And then, she basically fucking killed her too. And
Yeah, I do remember Joseph when she was saying, okay, so this huge wolf was saying mother to me. Like, and she had all the other little dogs behind her. They were really tiny wolves. And so I was froze, she froze me, like, and she said mother to me. And I'm like, So she was telling me, please don't kill me. These are my children. If you don't kill me, I will take care of you. Basically, like an inter. And I'm like, wait, no, but I'm supposed to kill you. But in this scene, I'm a little kid. I'm a little kid, and
Yeah,
she's
you're
right in front of
yeah,
me, and
we're
I'm
like,
like, what do I do? Do I kill her or not?
yeah, and you were like, she said mother, is she our mother? And I was
Yeah,
like,
because I
what?
thought she was my mom.
Yeah, and I was like, what? And you were like, she said mother, and I'm like, I don't fucking know. And then and then like uh you know, she just stepped up, she's like, fuck that, and just fucking started slaughtering them. But
There
yeah,
was
we
a
were
group
we
of
were
us.
teenagers. Yeah.
Yeah, you were to my left, and then she was to my
So
right.
so there's one other person that's public, that's a female, which I think is I believe it is. So there was you, there was our mutual friend, um, and then there was I think it was what's her name? Trying to think of her name.
Was it Susan?
Tia? I think it was
Oh,
Tia.
yeah.
Yeah. Tia Krish. Like, she was the other female that was there. And then there was a little boy that was there that I went to school with when I was 8. And he was part of our unit. Like I think we were like so I had originally I was from a different unit of kids. And I don't know, you guys were more advanced, you were a little older, and they fucking transplanted me into your guys' group.
We were mad.
Oh yeah. Well, it's because originally when you guys were in your guys' group, the person who was your instructor had told you guys that there wasn't any leader in your unit. And then when they brought me in, they were like, this is going to be the unit leader. And you guys were like, what? You said there was no unit leader.
Right.
So
We're
that
like the
caused a
rebels.
real confrontation. Yeah. And then like pretty much the entire time, everybody was like, I would be like, we need to do this. And you guys were like, fuck you. Without saying it, you guys were just like, no, I think we should do this. And it's like, what? Like, how are you going to? So it was just like chaotic as hell, because it was just weird to explain. But like, I don't know, we all ended up figuring shit out. But I think that was the major problem is, you guys wanted to be unit leaders beforehand and nobody was allowed to. And then when I showed up, they were, you guys were like, well, who the fuck is this guy? Like,
like get out of here.
Yeah. So like, I remember that whole situation. It was fucking crazy.
It was. Okay, Joseph. So I wanted to, the last video that we did, it was between the last video and about 2 weeks ago. I think I gave you a recording. So do you remember this guy? All right. This is the flashback that I have. Look at how cute my little egg. I sleep with it. My little Jasper. It's cute, huh? It reminds me of creativity that I have inside still. Gotta keep going. Anyway, sidetrack. Hello, squirrel. All right, so we are in not Waffen uniform. We're in uniform. It's my day off, and I'm hanging my uniform up. My clean shit, because we gotta clean it once a week. And so you're over here on this side with, his name is Eric. He is a tall German male, white, blue eyes. He's in uniform, and he's in like this little tiny desk. He has this hat on. Susan Long remembers him. Frank remembers his voice. He and you are talking about, okay, we need this assignments. We need 2 more people. We're gonna do 2 and 2. There's this little white piece of paper, rectangular, and you're over here looking at me, and I'm ignoring you, and I'm ignoring Eric too, and I'm putting away shit, and I'm like, I'm not going. And then Eric turns to me and he says, we need 1 more, we need you. And I'm like, I look at him, I tell him again in my mind, I'm not going, and I tell him verbally, no, I'm good, I'll pass. And then like, no, you're not gonna make me. In my mind I was like, you're not gonna make me go. I was pissed. And then because you were there, and I'm like, please, Joseph, don't make me go. I was like in my mind, like, no, I don't want to go. But then you look, and I look, and I'm like, fuck, fine, I'll go.
Yeah,
But
I actually I did remember that. Like most of the stuff you told me that I was involved in, like I had recall of it later. But yeah, it was a
right?
trip. But yeah, and it's like with the kimono and stuff like that, being in that house and second story up in the bedroom. I remember that. That was like a sexual ritual that was done there. And then like the baby was there. I remember that whole, it was like not the entirety, but for the most part, like visually, you know.
Yeah, I saw Susan and Frank's baby girl. Um, it was like we had to rescue her. The scene in the mansion before that, I totally, dude, it's a sexual thing. Like you said, yes, it was a blue pill, red pill, clear pill, green, I think. And then I had the kimono, the red kimono. And I'm like,
Mhm.
I don't want to clean this up. And the old man, that picture that you sent me, shoot, I should have sent it to Katie to put it up.
Thomas J. Stewart.
Thomas J. Stewart.
His name is Thomas J. Stewart, but they call him Tom Stewart. His friends call him Tom
Yeah,
when
he
he was
was there.
alive.
Glad you took him out. Yeah, he
Oh no, it's like I have memories of like astral traveling with our mutual friend. We were doing astral projection, and because I have the ability to use telepathy, astral project, and also go into a being's body and put them in the back seat and take over. So, um, like the little girl that they had with his second wife, like I remember he was starting the process of MK altering her, and you know, basically, I don't know if this is like a future thing that I'm doing, but I astral project into her body so that she didn't have to go through it, you know, and like he knew that we were there, and he was basically like doing shit, like sexual shit to her, which was basically me because I took over the body so that she didn't have to go through that pain, you know, because I felt bad for what, you know, for what happened in the helicopter and stuff. Um, but I remember chasing him down, like, and so does the other person that we know. We were chasing him down and he was in the car and shit and he had a car crash. So I don't know, like I haven't really been able to like look into that yet with the car crash situation. But like we went after this dude like hardcore. So it's like he's dead in the future, but we went back in time astrally and like basically kept fucking with him.
yep, yep.
For
Yeah,
fun.
I saw that on Facebook. Somebody, I don't know if it was Susan or who that posted something about him and the little girl in the helicopter. I don't even know what the fuck happened. All I know is that I have a memory of seeing him in a car with the little girl,
Yeah,
and it kind of feels like a truck.
it's like a
Yeah,
black car.
yeah, it's black. It's black, definitely black.
Mhm.
Um,
Maybe like an SUV, I think. I can't remember 100%, but yeah.
I see it, so I can't wait to go back in and see what the fuck happened. Yeah,
Well,
Susan Yetis.
he took his youngest daughter, which was the one that had passed away, the one that I was in her body in the helicopter, right? He took his youngest daughter and he took her to one of his other locations that he had, and he basically was like, you know, trying to break her sexually through sex trauma. So like that's what he was doing, and then like it didn't work out the way he wanted, so he left with her, and we chased him down and started fucking with him. Yeah.
That's the hardest thing for me. Like when they did that to us sexually, here goes my list. God damn it. Every time I try and talk about it. It's like you become numb, you become another person.
Mm-hmm.
When so I was raped here in the 3D when I was 16. I was a virgin. It was a date rape. Uh, I didn't understand what an orgasm was. I didn't. So what happens is when they're doing these programs, they want you to surpass the feeling of an orgasm. They don't want you to, how do you say? It's an ugly feeling because you don't know like what's going on. You're a kid. You're like, am I supposed to have this feeling or not? So sometimes during when I have sexual intercourse, I cry and I don't want to because it's like it's like a shame feeling,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And I thought I had worked through it, but sometimes it's hard to stay
Mm-hmm.
to stay in the moment with your partner because I have a tendency to fly, to go. If it's
It's like,
painful, I just go.
yeah, it's like an altar basically takes over. Hmm. Yeah, I've been raped before too, so it's like by like family and just other people, and like either if I'm raped or if somebody like if I don't feel like it's a life-threatening situation to like have an altar come out and start killing people, which luckily hasn't happened yet. I mean, I've had an altar take over and like basically fuck somebody up really bad, but um normally they don't ever come out unless it's like life threatening. So I have an altar that comes out if there's sex happening that's not consensual. So if I'm being fucking raped or if I'm getting burned, you know, um, and if and that's basically what happens to me is like I'll have an altar come out and I'll just be like, I'll just take it like it's nothing, but it's not my sex kitten altar specifically, because like you have your sex kitten altar, which will basically, when that comes out, it will be like, oh, what do you want, let's
Yeah,
because I
yeah,
have
I
a
have
sex
that
kitten
too.
altar,
Yeah,
and it's come
yeah.
out normally like with women, when I was younger, it just, that altar just knows what to do. It's fucking weird,
Isn't it
and it doesn't
crazy? It's
matter.
like you're acting. It's like you're
Hmm.
acting. You're like, hey, baby, what do your whole thing just changes. Your attitude, your words, your the promiscuity, whatever they call it. That
Hmm.
is, I surprise myself sometimes. Like I feel
Yeah,
myself making changing.
yeah,
That's
and it's
all.
like like when that altar comes out, it doesn't matter what kind of a woman is around me. I can get them to do whatever I want. And like, I don't know if it's because I'm just outwards, just like, I don't know how to explain it. So I'm really highly charismatic, and they could be the most uptight woman you've ever met, and I can get them to just boom, no matter what. It's
Right.
fucked up. Like I
It is
learned
fucked
to
up.
stop doing it when I got married, and it's like I didn't know that's what it was until later on.
Yeah, I didn't know I was doing it either. I'm like, how come? What happened? Like I just asked for a favor. Hey,
Yeah.
baby. I didn't. I don't show. I don't ever show. You know. I'm very careful what I wear. I'm not doing it on purpose. It's just the training, I guess. You
Yeah. Like I also have training where like I remember like being on a racetrack and like being taught how to maneuver vehicles and shit, and like what is it? There's like a movie where this guy he gets out of the car and like pulls his weapon. I think it's like American Assassin or Jack Ryan or whatever. Anyways, like that shit, like I learned how to do that. And like my ankles are all fucked up too, because
Mine
I
too.
kept fucking up.
Mhm.
So I kept fucking up and not doing it right. And the guy that was there training me, he looked just like my instructor, but he was a different instructor. Like he was dressed the
I
same.
have those memories too. I'm glad you brought that up because it's scene after scene. It's like get out. You got to get out and go fight. Get out, go fight. And it's like
Hmm.
or fight through through the glass. Um, and it's weird that you said your ankles because my mom would get mad at me all the time. She's like, Vero, here you go, another messed up ankle, both ankles. And it didn't matter if I was walking. I just sprained my ankle. Basketball, I played a lot of basketball, volleyball, but I never understood, and even football with the guys out there. But it's like, why were my ankles? It's really hard for me to use heels too.
Yeah.
When I started.
Like mine pop nonstop. I
Yeah,
can just
yeah.
sit there and pop my ankles like it's nothing. And people look
My
at me
my
like, what the fuck?
this left shoulder pops too. Are you like ambidextrous, or are you really flexible? I'm really flexible. I took gymnastics when my mom took me to gymnastics. I'm like, why did I do? Did you take gymnastics? School?
Mm-mm. I can't even do the splits. Like,
No.
if I try, I'm not getting back up. I'll just put it that way. But, I mean, maybe I have an alter that can, but like not me. I'm just like, nope, I'm good.
So funny.
But yeah, like I remember like being able to like get out of handcuffs and stuff even when I was a kid. Like when they put your they cuff you behind your back. Like I know exactly how to fucking maneuver myself to get my hands in front of myself. I know how to relocate. Like if my shoulder's dislocated, I know how to, I know how to put it back in place. Normally I can use a wall, and I don't even like, I've had it dislocate randomly. Like I'll be doing something and then all of a sudden my fucking shoulder's dislocated. I'm like, what? Like this happened when I was a kid. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So like my first reaction is to run up against a wall and fucking slam my fucking shoulder into the fucking, slam my fucking shit into the wall and try to pop it back in place. And I'm like, and then I'm like standing there like, what the fuck just happened? And I'm like holding my fucking shoulder and I'm like, oh, that fucking hurts, because it gets like really stiff when it happens. And I'm like, what the fuck, I remember
this
like
has been going in and out lately, like 3 weeks already. I'm like, just stay put, but no. It likes to pop in and out.
Like when I was 14, I remember like, because I had a big property that I lived on. So I would like right after I came back, I had memories of shit, and I remember like running and then jumping. And like, I think there was one of the craft was there and was like basically fucking with me. So it used this tractor beam to lift me up off the ground and then drop me. So I'm like running, I'm like jumping in the back of the yard and fucking, I'm just like, whoo, boom, whoo, boom, and then at one point it went too high and I was like, I felt it like when your legs hit the ground, or when your feet hit the ground and it's like, you get that fucking shit. And right after that happened, somebody came out, somebody had a rifle and started shooting at me. And when they did, I don't know how the fuck I knew. I just knew zigzag, zigzag,
Yes, yes, exactly. Yes.
It's like, I had this, it was like zigzag, don't run a straight line, zigzag. Right. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? And like, like when they were shooting, like the bullet hit like a rock and like caused like a ricochet, but like the dirt and like chipped off pieces of rock would hit me in the leg. Like it was fucking crazy. And I'm like, what the fuck? And like I didn't know I could run that fast, but I can run.
I know, yeah. And I have a lot of those memories from the woods when they would chase us in the woods in the mansion. And they would put bets on us to see who can run the fastest and who can last the longest in the game.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's like I just met like they're not public, but they talked about a kid, which was me, which it's so weird, but like when they were talking about this shit, like we were brought into this area where they had an altar that I had to lay on, and like they were using their abilities and stuff on me. And like I remember like some weird shit happening, and then I got eaten because there was like some Draco there and some other humans, and like they were wearing masks and shit, and it's fucking just weird,
Okay, yeah, I remember that memory. Okay, so I don't know if we were in Uranus or where the fuck, but there was a it was a part of the Kruger program. Okay, and there's this white tarp that they had us under. I don't know if you remember, but they had different even older people there. They were promising them, okay, if you give your life force to us, we're going to take care of your family or whatever. We just need your blood. And they had these things trickling down from the top of the ceiling. There was these tubes, and I remember that I was in this slab, And I looked at my hand, and the hand was coming out like steel, metallic. And to my right, they were putting some shit in there, taking blood. I don't know. And then they give me this white, like, astronaut looking thing to put over my head. I'm a little kid, and they're like, okay, now be careful now, because there's water, and there's these rocks that you can fall. And so I go outside, and I'm like, okay, this is weird. The rocks are like kind of weird. They're swinging, like there's tectonic plates under there somehow. Then there's this guy. This guy is huge. He looks like a rock being. He looks like a dinosaur, half male. And he starts transforming in front of me. And he says, "You better run, little girl. You better run, and you better hide before the sun goes down." And I'm like, holy fuck! I didn't even want to ask why. I started running with the other kids, and there's lions running with me. I'm like, why are lions running with? Then I go underneath, and there's this guy on kind of like a miner's thing going back and forth, kind of like a teeter totter. There's another little boy with me, and this guy's an Asian guy, and his name is Sergeant Lee or some shit. And he's trying to, there's an electric fence, and somehow we go through it. Okay. I don't know if it's you or it's a little boy. We go through it. We don't get zapped, but the dinosaur looking things get zapped, and we go under the cave, and there's a elevator that goes, and then I don't know what's in there. Mm-hmm. So I feel like there's other kids in there too, but that's the memory that I have. I don't know if you remember anything like being chased like that.
No, like the one that I just talked about, it was like an actual mansion. There was like a mansion kind of house, but it was like run down a little. But like there was a keypad that one of the two that were there, the girls that were there, like they had the fucking code to. They don't know how, it's just we were dropped off there, and it was just weird. Like it's so weird when people say stuff, because like sometimes I'll get fucking recall in the moment while it's happening, and then sometimes it takes a few hours, or like I'll go to fucking sleep, and all of a sudden it'd be like boom, because I can have it like while I'm awake or if I pass out. Normally I don't dream when I sleep. The only time I've ever had actual dreams since I had returned is like it's a rarity, like either something real serious is happening, because I normally astral travel when I sleep. So either I'm being taken or I'm astral traveling. So it's like either something crazy is happening, or it's just pitch black. And so like my ex, she had a dream catcher and put it up above our bed. And when she did that, I had fucking consistent dreams of fucking spiders and all sorts of shit, and fighting and getting cut in half and fucking murdered consistently. Like after about a week of that shit, I was like, I'm done. I'm like, you put this shit up, and I started having these fucking nightmares, what I thought was nightmares, but it was fucking recall. So I fucking took that shit, I fucking threw it, threw it out of the fucking room. I was like, and she was like pissed, because she was like, that's mine. I was like, you want me to throw it in the trash? Like, it's either going in the trash or it's going in a box, but it's getting the fuck out of this room.
Yeah.
And right after I took it out, no problem. Then again, now maybe I should put one up so that I can.
Well, I have a dream catcher, but I it doesn't matter if I have a dream catcher or not. I still have, dude. I've been having these dreams since I was a kid, like especially the nightmares. And now that that we're older, that we had the awakening, that we came back, whatever, it all makes sense. It's like little pieces of the puzzle. A lot of people say, "Well, how do you get your memories back?" I'm like, dude, it just, you have an awakening, and then either a near-death experience or some shit, and then you're like, oh god damn, like all these is this real? Like, all these experiences, and then of course some people blame the Me Too monkey effect, whatever, like, oh, you're just tapping into their subconscious, or you're just remote viewing their dreams. There's a fine line, believe me, between being a real super soldier and someone that's just remote viewing. So before I forget, so all right, so Michael Aquino, have you had dealings with him?
I don't know who that is.
Usually he's the leader that is responsible for taking the kids either in like Head Start or like where kids are being taken care of. What do they call that? Daycare?
Yeah, if you have a photo of him, if you could send me like a photo
Yeah,
of
I
what he
will.
looks like.
I'll send
Okay.
you a photo.
Because
And
I've never, like you said he was the old man, right? Or something like that.
uh, I want to know the old man. Yeah, I want to know like if you knew what they call the old man, Michael Kino, and that guy Stewart. So yeah, I'll send you a picture and then we can talk about it.
Okay. But yeah, so yeah, I don't know for sure. I don't know who the fuck the old man is. I know that he's in a lot of different factions for sure. Like I know he's in Kruger. I know he's in Notchwaffen.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, he's in my
and
recall too. That's why I had to ask you, why is this old man to my right always with me? Like, fuck, what does he
I don't
want?
know. Like he's a major player, and you know like I was talking to a close friend, and it's funny because not very many people are old out there unless they're in leadership positions, like high up leadership positions, you know, because they always make sure that you're young for us. You know, they keep regening us, so we're always prime, you know, prime age, prime physical physique and all that shit, you know. um but with certain ones they let them be old, and I'm like,
Yeah,
I don't know if that's because they are the progenitors of the programs, or if maybe they're just leaders in the colonies that they have out there or whatnot. But I mean, I've been told that that dude retired on a farm on Mars. So whoever the old man originally is. So I'm like, that's weird, you know, because I like so like with Penny, when I was the captain of the ship that Penny was on, Penny was there before I was, and there was an old captain that was there before me, but he didn't look like the old man. So like he thought he was retiring, and I'm like, what's that? You know, like when he said retiring in my mind, I was like, yeah, buddy, whatever the fuck you
yeah.
believe, you
We
know.
never retire.
But you know, everybody that I knew that was like us, we never got to be old. So I don't know if maybe he was a like one of the colonists, you know, and I'm assuming that's what some of them are. Some of them are from
You
the
know, that's good
colonies.
that I'm glad you brought that up because I don't I'm never old in my dreams. I'm always this face or 14-year-old,
Hmm.
18-year-old. I'm always young.
Yeah,
And
when you're 14 and 18, in between there, like between 8 years old or 5, 8, 14, and 18, it's because you're being trained. You're in the training process, or you're being, you know, like if you're 18, I think you're, you know, 14 or 18 or whatever, and you know, they're doing the sex stuff to blackmail people and stuff into doing what they're told and shit like that. But like once you get older, like when we're in space, normally, like I think the women are normally around the age of 25, and men are normally around the age of 30, give or take.
mhm, yeah, it's weird because in my flashbacks, or I guess you could say dreams, memories, flashbacks, it's anywhere between being a baby and I think the oldest that I've seen myself in my dream is like 30.
Hmm.
But I cannot see myself past. So a question that I had too was, well, how do you know it's not is it true that we can live forever in this body? And I'm like, why is it that we're young? Why is it that our body is so young? Especially when you have the awakening and you lose all the weight. Like with my situation, I stopped taking all the medications, stupid, fucked up, psychic medications that they had me on, epidural shots, you name it. I started eating more organic, more, just stop with the junk food, man. I try and eat organic chips and stuff like that when I get like the nervous attacks, but I feel that it has to do with with just because we had our awakening to like, hey, we know who the F we are. We are sovereign. We just activate our DNA subconsciously, and and also consciously. Um, and so the question is, can we live forever in this body?
With technology, yes.
Are you
But
talking about
when
the
it
med
comes,
bed stuff?
yeah, like through the med beds and through cloning and stuff, you can pretty much live for quite some time. But I mean, if say you're a star seed or whatever, um, your other being could be living longer than that, you know. But like if you do cloning and stuff, and eventually it gets too deteriorated to the point that you can't continue on. You know, that's what there. I mean, there's a lot of species out in space that, like the Greys, for instance, why they're having such issues because they've cloned themselves to basically almost the finishing point, and that's why they're trying. Like that's why you have Greys trying to breed with humans and shit like that, trying to create hybrids so that they can keep their fucking species alive. The problem is like for them, I've noticed like they don't have the same moral compass as us, obviously, because they bred that out of themselves. Um, but then again, it's like as they try to interbreed with us, with the human species or with star seeds and shit, um, their offspring are becoming more empathetic than what they are, you know. But they're still, because they're raising them, they're still kind of like teetering in a sense. So that's a weird situation, and I don't know honestly why I even know that, but I don't know. It's a trip. But beyond that, so like I don't know about you had a question about like Princess Diana. I don't know for sure what's going on with that, but I remember like seeing, you know, seeing certain things. Like I don't know why she was killed. I mean, I'd assume like I know that there's documentaries where they brought her up and then like, you know, they went to places where they had little kids and what the hell do they call that shit? Like adoption centers, you know, or where like the churches keep kids and raise them and shit, and you know, in England, I can't remember what the hell they call it, like an orphanage.
Yeah.
Like I know that they have documentaries where kids have talked about them coming and picking them up, and then like some of them being raped and brought back, and stuff
Well,
like
yeah,
that. But
it happens in the schools, like when parents drop off their kids to the guarderia, in Spanish, guarderia. Um, uh, you know, parents are working and they have to drop them off at the place. That shit happens there too.
yeah, by regular people too, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Before I forget, I okay. So that I was asked, well, how do you get handlers? So one of my handlers is Morgan Freeman. I'm in the mansion, one of the mansions, and everybody's dressed up in black and white, very fancy. Morgan Freeman is coming to me, and I'm like, I don't want to talk to him. I don't want to talk to him. And I start snow. I make snow come down. And then he turns around and goes to look outside, and there's snow outside too. So I made it snow because I didn't want him coming near me. Um, I just was trying to see this movie called Virtuoso with Morgan Freeman and Ruby Rose. There's these rats in the scene, and then there's an eyeball and then Morgan Freeman is behind the eyeball, and then it keeps going in and out. I start getting these black things in my eyes. I start getting, it's the onset of a migraine, but it doesn't have pain yet. My head is like, my eyes just, I can't watch the fucking movie. And all I see is black spots everywhere. It's like a psychic attack. I look at my partner, I can't see his eyes. I look at myself in the mirror, I just see white. And I can't see my eyes. I look at the TV again. When I see the people's eyes, it's black and then white. It's horrible. It's you know. So the question was, well, how do you know? How do you get altars? I mean, how do you get handlers, and it's what happens is in Hollywood. And then another thing, real quick before I forget, they say, well, is he Jimi Hendrix? Well, they have clones of people, Jimi Hendrix, Morgan Freeman, blah, blah, blah. Like Michelle Obama, Michael, he's Mike, he's a guy. But going back to this, they will use this, the CIA will use these movies to stop us from remembering. Dude, it's only I rewound it again, and I couldn't get past fucking 15 minutes of this movie. And then I put my beanie hat on, thinking, okay, well, gotta block the Wi-Fi. And I tried to sleep, and I slept maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then there was a red light that was coming out of the TV. And I usually will put a sheet over the TV in the hotels wherever I go, or resorts wherever I have to stay, or places. I mean, here my TV is always it's always covered. My camera is always covered in my phone. I just don't like that. I couldn't get past 15 minutes. So then I wake up, and it's this onset, huge, just pain from here to here. The eyes, the back, shoulders. Has that ever happened to you? Do you have any handlers that are Hollywood?
I don't know 100%, honestly.
For the sex kitten thing?
Give me 1 second. Can you still hear me?
Yes. Do you want to take a break and then come back and answer that? Or
it's up to you. I just want to take the headphones off because I'm having too much fucking shit. I can't even hear.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna need a break.
Okay.
Just like 5 minutes.
Sure.
Okay, Katie? Sorry. Thank you, Mama. This is a hard subject. All right, I'll be back. I'll be back.
Greetings. We are from the future. Everything is going to be all right. The future is a beautiful place, but you'll need some training in order to inhabit it. In the future, technology evolves faster than any human mind can think. When the singularity occurred, we became like gods, able to create entire worlds in the blink of an eye. Every thought had drastic immediate impact. All of our dreams became a reality. But so did our nightmares. The future became a battle of ideas. We had to learn to direct our minds to prevent dark psychological forces from destroying all of us. Now, with every new world we create, we summon the sacred imperative for life. Let there be light. 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 How can we be from the future, you might ask? Let us explain. Plants harvest light with near perfect efficiency. But this is impossible under classical physics. Along the way to the photosynthesizing core, photons of light should collide with other particles. But they don't. A photon reaching the core is as likely to succeed as you sprinting blindfolded through a dense forest, reaching the center without striking a single tree. Plants are engaged in a kind of miracle. The plant puts the photon into a state of quantum superposition, multiplying it by every route that photon could possibly take. Imagine blindly sprinting through a forest, being multiplied into every one of the billions of possible paths. If any one of your possibilities were observed hitting a tree, the superposition would collapse, and that would be your final outcome. But the plant patiently refuses to observe any of these casualties, while at its heart, it continues to sing. Let there be light.
Let there be light. Let there be light. Let there be light. Let there be light. Let there be light. Let there be light. Let there be light. Let there be light.
When any of the possibilities finally reaches the core without fail, only that winner is observed. All the other possibilities disappear. The winner is transmitted back through time, from the future, and becomes the only possibility that ever existed. This is how photons reach the plant's core with impossible precision. This is how you and every organism in existence overcame the massive improbabilities of life. This is how we are from the future. This is how you will become the light of the world as we invoke the sacred imperative together. Let there be light.
Let there be light. Let there be light. Let there be light. Let there be light. Let there be light. Let there be light. Let there be light. Let there be light. Let there be light. Let there be light. Let there be light. Let there be light. Let there be light. Let there be light. Let there be light. Let there be light.
Hello, everyone. It's Veronica Bartolini with Unchained Hearts, and I'm here on Soma Fusion, Mind, Body, and Soul. And we have Joseph Paul again. We're coming back from our break, and So we were talking about different handlers that we have had, or I asked them, hey, do you remember anyone from Hollywood? And I was just talking about Morgan Freeman. And anyway, it's very triggering, but here we are. Welcome back.
Yep. So these headphones, I hate them. Damn it. Okay. Still hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I know like the time frames that I've been here before in previous lives, Morgan Freeman has always been your handler. So that's a consistent thing. And I don't even think, I mean, because he's MK Ultra too. And like MK Ultra didn't just start during World War II. Like people have gone back in time even further so that they can start the process of MK Ultraing people ahead of time. You know, but like if you pay attention with Morgan Freeman, for instance, he has a monotone voice, which is part of being a handler, and that's one of the major things that you'll know. Like when you have a handler, they're going to use their monotone voice to keep you in line. It causes you to zone out and stuff. Also, it's like normally when you have a handler, normally they're with you. They normally link you up with a spouse. Like they put you in situations in your life where you end up crossing paths with somebody. And then, I mean, you've talked about it in past videos and stuff, but like they'll cross paths with you, and then that individual will be your handler. They might not be good for your life per se, you know, but you know, they'll make sure that they keep you under control.
Yeah, my ex-husband has a very, very monotone voice. Passive aggressive. Yeah. You never knew if he was joking or not. But anyway, go ahead.
But yeah, so that's just something that I remember, plus things that you've said and other people as well.
Why the snow? Why the snow? Why am I always thinking of snow or wind or fire, and then the wind comes? You know, if I'm in a bad mood, or if I'm really, really sad, or if I'm in a bad mood, the wind will just I don't know, I'm able to handle fire. I'm able to put out fires, physical fires. But what is it with snow? I mean, supposedly I think of snow so they don't read my thoughts. What do you do? Do you do something like that?
No. Oh, can you give me 1 second? My kids are being too loud. Hold on.
And I'm gonna close the window because the gate, how do you say, the yard people are here. God, there's a word, JD. The yard people. What do you call them? Huh?
The gardeners.
The gardeners. Thank you. The gardeners are here, Joseph. So I'm gonna mute myself so I can close my window because they're here. One moment.
Okay.
But go ahead and keep talking. I'm gonna close the window. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. So like, I don't know if my ex was a handler or not. To be honest, I'm not 100% on that. But like there's a bunch of situations. Like the one thing I do remember with like a lot of movie stars is like I remember Marilyn Monroe when we were in space and stuff, because they used them as sex slaves. But that's like the closest thing that I remember for like movie stars and things, if that makes sense. But I don't remember having somebody who was a movie star that was a handler specifically. But I mean, it just depends.
Yeah, I know. I remember Marilyn Monroe and Elvis Presley, and And my mom, when we were kids, she would always watch him and stuff. And then one day she was crying in front of the TV hysterically. And I said, "What's wrong, Mom? ¿Qué tienes?" "Oh, se murió tu papá. Your dad died." I'm like, "What? What happened?" You know, it was Elvis Presley. She said he was my dad. I'm like, I mean, to this day, my sisters and I joke around about it, but I'm like, the fuck? The hell? Anyway.
Yeah, because well, like I have memory of like when I was in the Mars Defense Force, right? I have like Tia talked about that fucking situation with that big ass building made of rock and stuff, and like I was there. I remember that whole situation. There, like I had the person that was over me, that was in charge of me, and like he was arguing back and forth with her, and there was a bunch of other people that were there, you know, and they were like in this kind of pin thing, right? And I remember him like storming over to me and being like, "Hey, you know," he gave me an order to basically go over there and make him do what he wanted him to do and stuff like that. And you know, if they didn't, I was basically told that I had the leeway to basically kill them all, you know. And I'm like, I'm like, fuck, you know. I just wanted to stand there at my post, keep my mouth shut, and hope that I can just, you know, not have to deal with crazy shit. But like I remember like walking over and trying to get her to fucking do what my commanding officer wanted done. And like and my commanding officer, he had these what was it, like he had this fucking mustache, this that fucking same mustache, right? The handlebar mustache. And I think it was like black, and he had like black hair or whatever. But it like that shit was a trip though. Because I already remembered that, and then like I watched her talk about it. But I had walked up and I was trying to tell her, you know, hey, you know, we need you to do this, and she was like, you know, she like was like, why should I? And like the other people that were there like try to like surround her as they're talking, as the person that would be the person who would talk on their behalf. And I was like, because I told you to, that's why. Like, why do you have to make problems? Just do what you're told so we can just get out of here, you know? And she was like, well, what's going to happen if we don't? I was like, well, we're just going to have to kill every one of you and replace you all. And after that, like, she ended up doing what she was told, you know, and she ended up like walking up the ramp and then disappearing. And like, I remember being like, hey, what are you doing? Like, no, don't go up there, you know? But that base, that location, like I remember after we had taken it over and stuff like that, they ended up like having all the movie stars be like prostitutes for all the super soldiers and stuff that were there. And so like I don't know what that whole situation is, but it's kind of funny because sometimes you'll hear like these musicians and movie stars and stuff like that, how they talk about making a deal with the devil or whatever the fuck they want to say, you know. And I think that's part of their deal, their contract.
Yeah.
You know, it's like an unwritten portion of the contract.
Yeah, I'm pretty close to Madonna, and sadly, and Michael Jackson. I can communicate with him still, and I can communicate with Prince. But Madonna, I don't like her.
But yeah, like, so when she mentioned Marilyn Monroe, I have memories of like going, like when I was on my off time, like going there and sleeping with her and like having full blown conversations. And I always had an attachment to Marilyn Monroe, even when I was a kid, you know, like a lust attachment. And I didn't understand that shit, you know, until after
my attachment exactly with her is even my daughter has an attachment to her. My cousin, one of my little cousins, has an attachment to her. I always would, you know, I to this day, I don't know if she was my trainer or not, but even one of my aunts on my dad's side, her trademark and mine are red lipstick and red nails. You know, my favorite color is black. Black and red. That's my combination. I don't know if she was one of my handlers or what, but it's just why, you know. Is it because we're always watching them on TV? Well, when we were kids, you know, I don't watch TV. But there's just, and then the training, well, we had training on colors too. Like, you know, red,
Mhm.
right? When you want to kill somebody, I see
Yeah.
red or black, you know. I don't know. Do you have any kind of recall on that, or
Yeah, I mean
what's your go-to color?
yeah, I think that's part of it.
Like
Like
a
they
what?
have the color, like the color stuff that you're talking about. That's part of the training for sure. Um, like it's so weird how much shit they put us through. So it's like really hard to pinpoint that stuff, you know.
I know the TV had a lot to do with us growing up and erasing our memories when they would take us, Joseph, because I
Mhm.
was always in front of the fucking TV. Even if there was the colors at the end of the show where they turn off the TV at night or in the morning, the fuzzy screen, I was just there looking at it.
Right?
Staring at it.
Yeah.
What the fuck? You're supposed to go to bed. Or you're supposed to go out there and go to school or go play.
Is
No,
zone with the
always in
TV.
front of the
Yeah, I remember doing that when I was a kid too. Like,
yeah.
I remember when I was a kid, I used to watch The Simpsons, which was kind of funny, especially like with the whole connections that are happening now, where like people are like, "Oh yeah, this is telling the future," and it's like, yeah, no shit. Like I think Homeboy, like a lot of people now think that he's from the future. I think what it really is he was just remote viewing a lot of shit. He
Mhm.
probably was part of the programs at some level,
Hellboy?
huh?
What are you talking about Hellboy as well?
I mean, most of the movies that are out now. I was talking about The Simpsons
Oh no, I know
specifically.
you were, but I don't know why I got Hellboy now.
Well, I mean, a lot of that. So the whole point of a lot of these movies is like it's already been talked about. It's to disclose stuff to the public that are going to be like, oh, that's cool, so that they can be like,
Right.
yeah, it is cool, isn't it? And this is what we're going to do to you. And now nothing's going to happen to us, you know.
Yeah.
But which is a trip, you know, because it's like it's almost like just the way things are, you know, how they pull shit off. It's quite intelligent, but it's like it's kind of fucked up at the same time, you know, because they know how to work around the system that they're put in, you know, with with karma and shit like that.
Yeah.
Because like from my memories and stuff, that's what we're all based on. It's based off a karmic system, you know. I don't know about a lot of this other stuff. I just know like when I learned that when I was with Commander Ashtar and I served under him. Like that was their religious belief. But like they never forced it on anybody either. Like I remember like praying to God and shit, and they were like, okay. And they like put up a little thing in the corner where they would do their meditations and shit. And they would just like stare at me like, what the fuck are you doing? You know? And I'd be like kneeling down praying to God. They're just like, okay. You know?
My father he made uh, uh, a kneeler to pray. Okay, and I was 3 years old when I remember he was always praying on his knees. And when I was bad, he would make me pray on this kneeler, looking at a fucking cross. When he was a kid, because I grew up, we'll say Illuminati Mason family. We were Catholics. When he was little, they would put him in a dark closet, and they would say that the devil was there, that he was a bad boy. So when I was little, he would put me in my room. We all three of us sisters had to share a room, but so when I was thrown in there, I was thrown in there by myself, and there's a cross with the Christ on there. And I used to hate that cross with the Christ because my dad would tell me that the devil was there, that I was a bad girl, and that I had to pray to Jesus. I'm like, and I remember putting my fists up to that cross and saying, I hate you. You know, when my dad committed suicide, I said, I hate you. You took my dad. You know, and it's like, that's how I was MK'd Ultra. So yeah, talking about prayer, you always had to pray. Now it's like, I don't pray. I just send the energy. Like if I'm thinking about you or Penny or whoever, my friends or my kids, I tell them, hey, yo, snap out of it. I love you. you know, you got this, just whatever kind of information that I'm gonna like, encouragement, love. I give you all hugs, or, you know, send you guys, you know, like good vibes. Like, but it's in words. It's in pictures. I don't know if you do the same thing too, but I don't pray to like, I know that I have my dragons. I know that I have my team, but that I made, and my higher self. But at the same time, it's like I'm not gonna be praying, because praying is PREY. If you think about it, it's preying upon a person. What do you think about this whole concept?
Well, I mean, like, I was never forced to pray when I was on board the ship. It was just they were doing their thing, and I was like, well, I'm not doing that. I'm gonna go over here, and I'm gonna, you know, that was just my off time, you know, and like eventually I just stopped doing that and actually started doing meditations, and they taught me how to like fucking do meditating, and taught me how to actually like bring my fucking red root chakra out of my body in physical reality and like put it back in and all sorts of fucking crazy shit. Because like when they had the room, like the room had like the chakras, like chakra rings that you would sit in the middle, and like there would be chakra rings around, and they would like light up. And I think that like it was a silent room, and it was always dark. So I don't know what the whole situation was with that, but it was like it was a dark room, and then they had the chakra rings, and like sit in the middle, and like I normally had individuals that would be there already, and they were all considered like ascended masters, I guess. But they were like really fucking powerful psychically and shit. They taught me a lot of fucking crazy shit. And I'm just now starting to remember it.
I'm glad you said that, because I do have a memory where there's this dude coming out with his hands going like this, like a Christ, like a Jesus, and he has holes in his hand, in his palm, and he's wearing a turban, and he's coming out of a dude. This guy's real. I know. I've seen him. He's so fucking powerful. I don't know if it's the Maitreya or what, but he's coming out of a cave. There's like a light, like a flickering of like a candlelight in the background, and then there's a fucking triangle, and he's coming out like this. And I'm like, whoa, like I see you. Like, it felt like so much fucking love, dude. Like, what the fuck? I don't know. And then I have Master Paul. So it's Maitreya, Master Paul, Christ. I've spoken to Buddha once in a while. He's all right. He's cool. He's cool. The blue one, the Hindu blue god, the one that is the god of water, I have a connection with him. So I don't know what kind of masters that how did you come to an awakening? Did you come to an awakening with the masters, or another question going around is what's up?
So they basically picked me up. Like after I got dropped off by Sorla Warden, like the Commander Ashtar showed up in a big ass fucking mothership aboard the Ashtar Galactic Command. You know, he was overseeing the Ashtar Galactic Command, so like his big ass mothership showed up like in fucking broad daylight, and like tore through like a fucking veil, tore open, and he just came through. So it was like an electricity was like going over the ship as it was coming in, and then like there was like a rainbow because of it, you know, and then it like behind it fucking just the sky knitted back together, you know. They like tore between time and space. It was fucking nuts. And I remember Brillian, which is a gray who has fucking 4 arms, and he's tall and stuff, but he's the one who flies the ship. And he actually has carnivorous teeth, but he's really down to earth and nice. Like I remember like when I first came aboard, like before I came aboard, you know, I freaked out because I had already seen the first ship, and I was like, oh fuck, you know, I just bawled my eyes out begging for it not to fucking kill me, you know. And then that ship fucking shows up, and I'm like, oh fuck no, you know. And like I heard like over like this intercom, it was like an intercom, it was all loud and shit. It was like, hi, it's like, hi, we heard your call, we're here, you know. And like, so that was brilliant. And I was like, oh fuck that. And then I heard Commander Ashtar's voice, and it was like, it's okay, Joseph, don't be afraid, we're not here to hurt you, you know. He's like, if you want, we'll help you, you can come aboard our ship and we'll help heal you. And I was like, I don't know. And he's like, if you don't want to, you don't have to. Like it was consensual, like he wasn't trying to force me to go aboard. And I was like, I sat there and I thought about it, and I didn't feel any like negative connotation, because I started feeling, you know, like positive and negative polarities at that point. So I didn't feel anything negative coming from him or the other being. So I agreed, and they brought me up aboard the ship. I served from the age of 14 all the way up to, I believe, like almost 80 years old, 80 or 90. It was fucking crazy. So when I first got up aboard, like Commander Ashtar was like standing there, right before you go to the deck of the ship, right? And I didn't really know too much, and I was like, I had another being that was bringing me to him, hit me with like what looked like an EpiPen, but it had nanotech. So he injected me with nanotech, you know, and I was like, what the hell was that, you know? So I'm like sitting there cussing. I'm like, what the hell was that? Why the fuck did you do that for? And I'm like holding my arm, and Commander Ashtar was like, oh, it's, you know, it said it's nanotech. It helps you so that you don't get as sick, and you don't, you know, you're more healthy and stuff like that. It takes care of you and stuff like that. And I was like, I didn't give you permission to do that. You know, I was like, why don't you fucking ask before you just fucking inject me with shit? What the hell, you know? And I was just like, just a 14-year-old asshole, you know? So like when I saw him, he had like this fucking blue uniform, and it was like a Russian czar. It had the tassels and shit. And I looked at him, I was like, what the fuck are you wearing? And I started laughing at him, and he was like, he just straight faced, you know, he didn't show it like anger or anything, but he was just like, would you like me to put you back where I picked you up at? And I was just like,
it's funny. I'm glad you said about him, because I've had one where I asked for Metatron, because I heard that the Pleiadians or the Metatron dude, I just have a connection with Metatron, but I don't know if it's Ashtar or not. But I wanted to meet the dude that has supposedly the bulk of life, that of all the shit that you do here on Earth. So I wanted to meet him, and then I wanted him to take me to his sarcophagus, because I was having a lot of back pain. This was in 2018, and had just moved in here. So I opened my eyes, and here he is, this mother effer, huge blue eyes, big guy, white, and he has platinum hair, like a long platinum hair, and he's wearing blue, a navy blue with white, and there's a female and a male behind him. And I get scared. I'm like, what the fuck? And why are you staring at me? You know, but he told me in my mind that he did take me to the sarcophagus, and then he did help heal my back. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. Then there's this other being that I wake up to, and it's an angel, but it's an ugly ass angel, white porcelain being, and it's evil, dude, and it's just staring at me. So I'm like, those are the two that are so real, that are here in the 3D that I saw. So I don't know if it's Metatron or if it's Commander Ashtar or what, but these white dudes, they're real. They exist.
mm-hmm. Like, I don't know, Commander Ashtar had told me that because of my spectrum as a child, I always saw males as in leadership positions, because most of our generals, when I was 14 and younger, were all fucking men, right? So he had even told me that that's not his real form, but that because I perceived men as leaders, that's why he looked like he did.
Interesting.
And I think maybe Commander Ashtar is Ishtar. I think that's actually what it is, but I'm not 100% on that. But that's because the symbology of the things that are shown when it comes to Commander Ashtar has the same symbology as Ishtar.
Mm-hmm.
And he never lets me see his true form. So I don't know why he does that, but he's never like hateful or negative. And like, even when he got a little angry one time, but it was righteous, and like more of the only way I could say is like a righteous anger. like still loving, but like, what the hell, you know? Why didn't you obey me when I told you to run? You know, and like I remember like when I was aboard the ship, he let me choose what I wanted to do. Like there was no you go and do what I tell you. It was, you know, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I don't fucking know, you know. I'm like sitting there like I have no idea.
Yeah.
You know?
When I was taken by the Andromedaeans when I was 3, it felt like home. Like this lady, she was really, really tall. She had like this like lavender uniform. Her eyes were huge like that. Huge, really beautiful eyes, and her hair was like stuck to her head, like black. And then there was this other 2 men that were on the ship. One had like a light green suit on, the other one was blue. And we were doing the cube thingy, you know. That's I've talked about that many times. But anyway, it felt like home, you know. Real quick before I forget, I want to talk about this memory that I have today, this morning. But before I do, you know, the goddess Kali, you know how she has like all these arms, and you were talking about that dude that has the 4 arms, like that. This stuff to me is normal. Like they I've seen them before. They exist. You know, there's a planet where they exist like this. They have many arms, and it's so. I often see the man with the 4 arms, but with 1 eye. I don't know who that is.
Well, see, a lot of these beings aren't even gods. They're just aliens that came here, and people are like, oh shit, you know, they can do things, and they're just like, oh, you know. So, but like like we talked the last time, you know, when you send your when you follow somebody to such an extent, you know, we talked about how you know, you start worshiping them, they gain your energy, and it empowers them even more. But it's like if you're not ready for that shit, it causes you to go crazy. So like that's why a lot of humans just go crazy, because they're not ready for that kind of shit. Yep. Same with super soldiers, even they're not. But
right, and that's why I tell people don't praise us, don't worship us, because we're just star beings that come here with all the abilities. Obviously, because we're not from here. We're not. And most people do have abilities. They just are scared of.
Yeah. Well, it's like in this time, most of their abilities are going to start surfacing, you know, and I think that's mainly what the whole process is. But I mean, I don't know. It's like I think people get that shit mixed up with ascension. You know, they don't comprehend the ascension portion. It's like ascension is mixed in with like, yes, you're going to have abilities that are going to start unlocking. So they're trying to get you mentally ready for that. But you're also going to be, you know, you could possibly go into space. But it's like the beings in space, for the most part, don't want beings that are going to be too ruthless. You know, I mean, we've already seen what
too cocky, too ruthless. Yeah.
You know, and it's like there's already beings that are already out there that are ruthless. You know, there's slavers, there's, you know, there's different empires and shit. You know, and I think that's going to be like the kick in the teeth for the majority of humanity when they find out that they're, you know, they're at the bottom of the totem pole, or like near it. You know, it's going to be a scary situation for them. And when humans get scared, they get violent. That's another thing, you know. So it's like all the shit we did in space is because we were scared for the most part, or we were following orders, you know, or being given orders but loosely following them so that we could accomplish shit, and we weren't told not to, because it still accomplished what they wanted in the end, you know, in the long term. But it's like I don't know, it's kind of going to be a hardcore situation, because like the council that the council of beings that are out in space that oversee a lot of the fucking shit that goes on in this universe, like they don't necessarily want to help us, you know. But then again, they kind of do in a way. It's just we're not ready, in a sense, you know. Humanity still isn't ready, you know. They still believe that there's going to be some fucking savior that's going to come along and save them all, you know, and they don't have to get off their couch.
Yeah, I keep telling them don't go on the fucking ships because they're going to use your battery anyway. Yeah, they're not here to save you in the ships.
It's just like there's a lot of super soldiers that, even though they could integrate right now, and they don't even have to leave their couch, they still won't.
They still what?
I said there's a lot of super soldiers that are here on Earth that could literally integrate themselves and become whole completely, so they're not no longer used. You know, they'll actually know what's going on and be able to, you know, so it's like if you're not fully integrated, you can still be activated with code words. But if you fully integrate, it's really hard to activate you because you're fully cognizant. You can actually turn it around completely and actually take over your altars and shit and do what the fuck you want, which is why they don't want people to integrate completely. Or they try to stop you when you start the process. But it's like we're coming to a point where it's going to be really hard, especially when masses do it. But there's still a lot of super soldiers that are just still too mentally lazy or just don't want to deal with it. So I mean, even though they don't have to get off their couch to do it, they're just as bad as regular humans.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. True.
And it's just like
mhm.
it comes to the point where everybody wants all this shit, but they don't want to earn it. You know, it's just like with med beds, like we talked about last time. Everybody wants the med beds, everybody wants all this tech, but they don't want to earn that tech. You know, and they don't even care how it was gotten, and they're not even going to ask that question. You know, so it comes to a really hardcore situation, and it's like we have, you know, we're in the middle of a situation where it could go both ways. You know, and I like when you talked about that casa that was in Mexico. I remember that. I remember that was part of the first time that we came through, because of like when you talked about California breaking off and stuff. That was part of the first timeline where it started, right? And when we failed and shit, and like we fled to Mexico, you know, and we were basically being hunted. You know, super soldiers that rebelled were being hunted down, and I remember that day, and I remember being there, and I remember like being kind of a douche. I was kind of a dick.
Just like shooting the shit, and I'm like, yo, gotta go do something, you know. And we were feeding the kids, we were feeding the people. You were talking to some ladies there, you know.
Yeah, I remember hitting on some ladies. Yeah.
It was like in a bar scene, but not really. Like it was like for the adults only. And then I was like, I was done already, like feeding all the kids and shit. And I'm like, I need some time off. Like, hello, like I need some adult time.
Like you were talking about in that same thing. I think we got on a ship and we left, but on that ship, Hillary Clinton was in stasis, and so were a bunch of other of these fuckers.
Yes.
You know, they were all clones and were in stasis. And it's like we came across them and we're like, what the fuck? I don't even know where the fuck that ship was, why we got guided to that ship to get. I mean, it was basically like, shit's going down. We're not going to be able to save Earth. Get on the ship and leave.
Yes, we were on the huge ship. Okay, I described it already in the other video. But this little, smaller, circular black ship was in like in the, we'll say in the rear on top, this 2 tiers, and then to the side was this ship. And then I had the red thing, and then I said, okay, it's time to blast them off. And I sent them away. But yeah, they were catatonic. I'm like, why the fuck is Clinton here? But why this, you know, all the, even my ex was there, you know, all these people.
Yeah.
What?
I remember that too.
Yeah, it was weird. All I knew is that I had to push that button and they had to go. It was time to go.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that dealt with like we discussed with the Draco, you know, Pindar and shit.
Well, that's what I wanted to talk about too, Mijo, if you have time. Okay, so 2 things. Let's talk about Pindar, who he is again, right? And why? Because there's another person on YouTube. Her name is Lauren, that says that Pindar is someone else, and I'm like, no, Pindar is that. And then you can talk about that one. There is the situation where we're here fighting an evil dragon. Okay, there's a situation where we are dragons, and we're getting a hold of all of us now to come together for this war. And the bad Draco will say, because I have, you know, Draco blood, you have Draco blood. They killed us all here on Earth. So we decided, bullshit, we got to come back, and that's why we're here. We're integrating, right? and we're getting all of our brothers and sisters that are Dracos. Remember that there's different factions though.
Mhm. Yeah,
Unfortunately,
there
sorry.
are different factions of Draco. Okay.
Yeah,
And
go ahead.
like I have there's Draco that are part of the Brotherhood of Light that serve under Commander Ashtar as well. You know, like I've said before, I mean, it's like if we just took one group of people and we're like, oh, all these people are evil. That's not how that works. You know, I mean, you do have like beings that are more primitive that think along a collective mindset, and they're ruthless and they'll fucking slaughter anything they can get their hands on. But it's like, that's because they're primitive and don't have a level of consciousness to actually think for themselves, you know, of this is good and this is evil. They're just trying to eat and survive. But for the most part, all the beings that are in space, they have the ability to be good and evil. You know, and a lot of it is that we assume that they have the same moral structure that we do as humans, and perceive good and evil through our vernacular. You know, which they don't. There's beings that don't perceive certain things as good or evil or right or wrong. You know, I mean, there's beings that they don't care if you're blood related. You know, they have children and stuff, but they don't have the same situations and issues. I don't know. We live in a fucking crazy ass universe. But with Pindar, okay, the real Pindar is a white Draco, and he's what would be considered a prime. Then you have the Pindar, my altar, who is sitting as a puppet basically sitting as a puppet who is perceived as Pindar. Okay, and basically he's there to sidetrack the mission, so that the white Draco can make sure he doesn't die, that he doesn't die himself, and can basically kill us, whoever's in the unit that I'm in. And there's also, like you talked about before, there is 5 other fucking battles that are happening at once. So there's 5 in total. Okay, there's one in Antarctica, which is the major one, and then there's other battles that are happening at the same time. So it's just a full-scale invasion, and it's like a 5-pronged attack to wipe out the dark ones on the planet. And the Black Crystalline Throne is a twisted form, which is something that came through in one of my sessions recently. It's a twisted form of the white crystalline throne. But what it is these dark ones have come in and invaded the solar system, and that's their way of a collective hive mind. So like when you sit on there, not only are you feeding off the negative energy, but which changes you. I mean, you could be the best person in the world, and the moment you sit on there, eventually it turns you. Like that altar, that is Pindar. Originally, when he sat on that throne, he took, like when I was in that altar, I took that throne thinking that I could actually help humanity. And all it did was twist me into a fucking monster, you know? And he's just done. He's gone. I mean, he's severed from me. He is his own creation, his own altar now because of that throne. And I don't have a connection like I used to. Like when I was younger, when I was 14, I tranced out and actually was connected to him. And then once he realized that situation, he basically used his power through the throne to disconnect us completely. He is his own being now. So it's like, it's a weird situation. And I don't know who you're talking about per se. You said there was a woman that sang somebody else's Pindar.
Yeah, her name is Lauren Richard Alexis. I'll send you the video if it's still up, but she's mentioning that someone else is Pindar. I'm like,
yeah. So Pindar, what he can do, he has the same abilities I have with telepathy. So he can make you perceive himself as someone else. So like James Casbolt talked about Pindar, right? And he talked about Pindar being someone else. That person was me in an altar, which is actually Pindar, and I was using telepathy to make James Casbolt think I was someone else, because he was basically fucking his wife and impregnating her, which he mentioned and talked about openly. But it's because he's a coward, and he knew that James Casbolt wouldn't have stood there had he known who I really was. Right? So, and by the way, there was another individual that was there that was standing there, that was the mediator between the bloodlines of the Illuminati. So basically, like, he gives an edict, and that dude goes out and gives the edict to all these fucking bloodlines. And then there was what's her name? Oh fuck. James Casbolt's ex-wife was there, right? And it was a fucking sex ritual. And basically, she is my female side of who I truly actually am. But then her father was there, so it went dude, her father, then her mother. They were there, and then James Casbolt was there. James Casbolt was bawling his eyes out because he was watching his wife get fucked in front of him, and he was like, "What the fuck," you know? And basically, while I was doing the ritual, I had such an ability that I could use telepathy while I was in the middle of that whole shit to make him think that it was the guy that he mentioned in one of his interviews. But that's not who it was.
Right.
Same with whoever this other person is. And when he's sitting on the black throne, you can't actually connect to find him. But if you try to look for him, he'll start fucking with you, for sure. So if you're smart and you're a super soldier and you don't want to be fucked with, don't go looking for this guy, because he will fuck with you.
Yep.
But you're more than welcome to. You're gonna find out he's real, and he's gonna really fuck with
Oh,
you.
I know he's real. I know he's real. Say no more. Yeah,
But,
it's
it's a brutal situation, but it's like once that situation dealt with, it makes it a lot easier for the remaining battles.
Speaking of battles, I know we are battling as we speak. There's a lot of people in the love and light community that say, "Oh well, along with the stupid Q movement, some of the Q is not good. The psyops, the white hats, a lot of people say, oh, well, I was told to not fight. I was told that the military is taking care of everything. So people are being told to stand down, to follow the plan. No, it's not right. It's not right. That really upsets me. Yeah, they just want people to be like, oh, we don't have to do anything. They're taking care of it. And people are going down. How do you know people are going down? Huh?
I said, pay attention to the plan. It's sit down, don't do anything. We'll take care of it for you. Haven't we dealt with that the entirety of this whole time? Is sat down, not done anything, and sat on our asses and waited. How's that been working?
It's not working, and then people are giving messages saying, oh, we're taking down the bad guys. And I keep asking, where's the evidence? I don't see it. How do you know they killed off Biden? How do you know they killed off Clinton? How do you know? Well, we have our things that we're doing.
Yeah. Like, I'm not going to say that these things aren't happening, that there aren't battles that are happening. There are. It's just, I think that people are misconstruing how it's going, because if it was going well, then everything that we went through wouldn't continue to happen. We wouldn't have to be activated and brought on board and readying ourselves to fight a fucking great battle. It would have already been over.
Right.
You wouldn't see these people fucking fencing off everything around them, scared shitless that, some fucking nobody's going to just come out of the middle of nowhere and fucking genocide them all off.
Right.
If everything was going as planned, they would already be done.
Yes.
But I mean, there's a long-term battle plan, obviously, or we wouldn't be a part of it. It's just, there's beings that are in space that don't know if they want to make a move or not, and because once that happens, all former treaties are up and shit goes down hardcore. Like, this is only one battle. There's several others that are going to happen. Right. So once that gets taken care of, there's other crystalline black thrones on other planets within our solar system. And those have to we have to go and deal with those. And by the way, they're enslaving beings and forcing them to fight on their behalf, or corrupting them as well. So once those are dealt with, that's when they start making the full invasion. If we do nothing, they will just fucking straight invade and take over. If we do interject, they'll eventually show their hand and bring out their ships, and it's going to be a lot. There's a lot of them, and I have memories of that shit too. It's fucking wild.
Yep, I do too. And there's
Um,
a lot of ships, and there's a lot of battles.
yeah, it's like a lot of them are all blacked out, like they're just completely black ships, and they're
Yes.
big blacked out ships, and they're fucking ruthless. And most of the people that are in charge of those ships are Draco. So I don't know I don't know if that's the Empire itself or how that's all gone for. I have no idea. I'd assume so, because I mean, you know, most of the Draco that I met that dealt with like notch swapping and shit, they were all fucking evil. Like, I don't remember them being great, nice. I mean, they tried to show like niceness, but I mean, if they were good, why are they black gluing people to be slaves? Right?
Yeah, definitely.
But I mean, there are like you said, you know, there are good Draco, there are us. I mean, the fact that we're willing to even fight against like we're half, you know, we have a genetic link to Draco. So like if we wanted to, we could join with them. And what the fuck are they gonna do? You know, we just basically slaughter whoever the fuck they want and fucking be like, oh good. We don't have to do any work, you know?
Right.
The fact that we're willing to go against that should just show people that, you know, we're not going to allow this shit to continue.
Exactly.
And I mean, there are super soldiers that will totally agree with what they're doing and go against us. But it's, you know, people have to make their own decisions.
And you can see it already here with, we'll say the Facebook wars. You know, there's so many people that I've had to block or just not talk to anymore because they make their stance very clear which side they're going to take on.
Mm-hmm.
What are they going to swear to? You know, my thing is, why are we here? We're here to save humanity. We're here to save the children. We're here because we're tired of this bullshit. Because it could keep going on and on and on if we let it. I'm not going to just sit there and let them take care of it. Them who? How do you know who the military really is working for? Obviously, we know that they have different entities. The Army, Navy, Air Force, they're all connected to different entities. Okay. There are some real super soldiers like us and other, we'll say, assets that have broken off from the military that are with us. We are together now fighting these wars, but some people are saying, oh, the military is taking care of it, the good guys are taking care of it. How do you know? Who? Really? You're just gonna sit back, relax, and let them take your planet, let them take your kids, your animals, your women, you know, this cryptocurrency crap, that is fake too. You know, Elon Musk can go suck an egg. His wife with the alien tattoo, you know?
He said he'll take whoever wants to go, but they're gonna have to pay their debt off to get that pays to get them there, right? So he's already talking about so Elon Musk has already openly stated that he'll give people a ticket to go to Mars, but they're gonna have to work their debt off. He's basically saying that he's gonna create debt slaves on another planet. It's like that guy should be arrested on that point alone, and he's openly admitted that that's what he wants to do. So it's like that's fucking open human enslavement. Like that's human trafficking, you know?
Yeah, that's like giving him permission to go up to, you know, persons to go up to the iCloud, like that movie, The Gamer, you know? They're actually stuck in different realities because they're so many people are either going to be stupid or really afraid, and they're going to give up their rights. They're going to think, okay, I'm going to go to Mars, or I'm going to the ascension shit. Really? That, okay. Don't get me started on that. So the new earth, I'm like, okay, you got to ascend. You got to love and light. You got to stop, you know, you got to just send love. Okay, I understand that. because we are love, we are unconditional love, we come from unconditional love. But if you don't stand for something, they're gonna break you and your children and your part of Mother Earth. This whole thing of going to fourth dimension is where the demons are. I mean, that's okay. I don't see a veil. These people are like, oh, the veil is thinning. When you have an awakening, you see shit. Okay. Because you already are awakened when you come in here, and all this shit happens to you. And then now you have this awakening, and then you see the shit, and then it's like.
Well, so you can see, but from my memory, like when there's mass genocide, right? That does weaken a veil to where you can tear it open, but that allows them to come physically into this reality, full blown, and affect everything around them, not just maybe fucking with some human or whatever. Like they can just fucking full blown come in and just start genociding people off, which is that's part of the dark ones, or what are called the dark ones, because that's the terminology that they use. You have the light ones and the dark ones. That's the main war that's consistently happening nonstop on every planet. And it just depends on what the planet as a whole wants to do. You can keep going down the same route, which leads, because they control the planet. Most of the time, they always have control of the planet. It's up to the species that are on the planet as a whole to collectively say enough's enough. And then beings that are more light prone will come in and say, okay, well, now we have a problem, and you're going to either stop or we're going to destroy you. Not completely, but we're going to make sure that that you're getting the fuck off the planet.
Yeah.
And going somewhere else, which is what has been the continuous thing. That's one of the things, like when I was on Commander Ashtar's ship, like they would have bids talking about that. Like they have news in space, and that's what they would talk about. Oh, this planet fell from the dark ones, or this planet, was liberated by the light side. Like that's the terminology and shit that they would use. And like, I don't know. It's a trip. Like
it is, because that's what I see myself doing always. It's like I'm on my own ship, and then we have a ship that all of us that are together in our unit come together, and we're always fighting these wars. And sometimes we have days where we have a month off if we're lucky. It's an ongoing thing. I always talk about, well, I'm gonna go home when I'm done here. I'm gonna go back to my dragon planet where I come from. And it's like I'm always battling. We're always together. We're always. Oh man, okay, we gotta go. It says overtime. Remember, I have to go. Oh shoot, yeah. Well, we're gonna have to go because my producer has to go. Thank you, Katie. Shoot, we're gonna have to do another time, Joseph. It's been fun.
You guys can continue on. That's fine. I'll just have to cut the live feed. That's all, and I'll keep recording.
No, it's okay. We'll go on another time. Is that okay, Joseph, with you?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Okay. I will record on Messenger what I was going to tell you about this flashback that I had. That way you can
go ahead. Finish what you need to do. I've got about 20 minutes.
Okay.
I was just letting you know.
This morning, I was being trained. Oh, okay, so I was at this house where this music comes on, and it's red, and it's like all these hallways and hallways and hallways, just a bunch of hallways, like coming in and out. And there's this guy singing, and the music is very torturing, and the colors are pink, and it's an abandoned tunnel. And this guy to my side starts crying when I play the music on the TV, and it's like a drug. He starts crying like he's having a it kind of it feels, and I've never here in the 3D had heroin, but it feels, this whole thing is like that. And he's crying and he's having an episode, and I'm like, what the fuck, I better stop playing this music. And so I tear out the plug. The music is still going, I tear off the how do you say, the dados, the nuts and bolts. The music is still going, and I finally have to use my powers to shut it off. Then there's this other scene where there's a lady, and there's more TVs that I have to unplug, and they're still going. And then I say, in my power, in my name, I say, I stopped, you know. And then this other lady comes and says, "Oh no, you have to use the name of Jesus Christ." I'm like, "No, I don't." And I'm being taken, and my hair is being pulled up, and I'm being taken up. And so she's teaching me. She says, "You have to use the name of Jesus." And I'm like, "Okay, well, I have my own name too, you know." And there's this power struggle too. And the next scene, I'm shown a girl, which is me, but she's in this scene. She's like Black Indian, and there's another woman telling her that that I didn't make it because I did not submit to the name of Jesus. She doesn't want to learn. She's telling her. So this female with black hair, she's dark. She's telling me, "This is where you come from," and she has me draw something. And so I draw these. I draw Andromeda. I don't know what Andromeda looks like. I'm still trying to remember, but I'm told that I'm traveler Andromedan 1800. So all I draw is these wings with this person being in the middle, and it's where I come from. It's me, and I'm drawing, and it's blue. The wings are blue. And so this lady is telling me, "You come from the Christ consciousness. You come from, Andromeda. You come," and I'm like, I'm this whole thing is just me trying. They try and us as kids, or as now, they try and take your power away by making you use somebody else's name. So there's different realms that are opened under, right, as opposed to below, underground, or around us in the ley lines. I'm trying to make sense of this flashback. I don't know if you've had similar training like that, but my whole thing is being, I always say, "No, I have my own name." I always say that. I have my own name. And there's this other scene. Now I think this is coming. This is for the future, okay? There's people being lined up. Like, I'm inside this house. I am secluded inside. I'm holding down the barrack. There's a reason why I'm there. A bunch of super soldiers are there too. And we're looking outside of the window. And there's these people, there's ice cream trucks, and there's these people lining up to get like bread boxes that are all white, like donut boxes. And then I don't know, this dude asked me, "Hey, Beto, go check that out. Go see what it is. What is it? Is it bread? What are they giving out?" So when I go to the ice cream truck, there's these people in white medical. They're all covered in white and gloves and all this shit and plastic. And then I say, "So what are you guys giving the people?" And I look, and it's like little tiny insulin shots. There's 5 of them total in a thing. They're like those strips, like, say maybe you're like, you have to check your insulin or your pH, whatever, or like the little shots. And
Mhm.
so what this lady, this, we'll say, medical person, gives this other female, she has her wear a white glove, and then this needle is actually like a marker, and she goes like this to her finger, and it's like a strip of silver, but it's food.
Hmm.
It's bread. So, because see, I went to bed thinking, what's going to happen to us that don't take the, you know what,
Yeah.
right? And I talk about G Mafia, I talk about the smart cities and other stuff too. But I know we got to go now, but something simple that you can, if you have any memories or anything, any insight on all this bull crap. Are you there? Unmute, please. There you go.
So like the whole situation is
I can't hear you at all. Your volume.
Wow. Okay. Hear me now?
Can you get closer?
Well, there you go. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, thank you. Yes,
Alright,
yes, yes.
cool. So the whole point is like with that whole scenario, they can't, the way that it's going, they can't force you to do it. So they got to sell you to do it. Then they're trying to buy your acceptance of it. So it goes in with the whole karmic situation still, right? And that's just how the process works. Because if you accept it, they don't have to worry about any negative situation happening to them, even though they're doing fucked up shit. So I'm pretty sure that what you just said makes a lot of sense with those who would survive, if they do survive that shit, because of just everything that goes along with it. But it's like I have like weird memories of which our mutual person that we know had brought it up, and like I had recall of it after a couple days. I was like, whoa, shit, where she was talking about like a lot of super soldiers being in like a museum setting, and like people would come up and be like, oh, these are the people that saved us and shit, right? And I remember actually being like basically what would be considered a president. And I remember like people would protest and shit, and there was just mass hysteria because like everything came out in the open, and like there would be like certain things we were allowed to basically release, and like there's no longer a Congress or a Senate, like basically that's all gone.
That
And
will be gone. No more voting.
like so like we still had like super soldiers, and like I remember like passing shit where like people would get crazy and try to like uprise, and I remember like ordering super soldiers to wipe them out,
Yes.
and I remember at like one point, it's funny because like for instance, Will Glover, like we were talking about this, and he had said something that triggered memories because he was there, and I remember him saying, well, if this is what it's going to be and all that's going to be left is us, fuck this shit, and like walked off, because we ended up in a situation where like we basically just started killing off all the regular humans because they were just like, give us this, give us that, or we're going to rebel. And it's like, what the fuck? Like
Yes.
like I remember giving them like med beds, fucking food technology, so they didn't have to fucking eat. And they were like, we need jobs. And it's like, well, fucking go make jobs then, because like most of our jobs are going to be null and void. They're just going to be wiped out because nobody's going to be doing anything.
Right.
So it's like we're going to end up in a shitty situation no matter what we do.
Yep.
That's one of the reasons why like I don't even want to be in that position because I'm like, fuck that. Like that didn't end well at all. You can't make anybody happy.
Exactly.
It's a really shitty situation.
People are always going to be greedy. Like if you don't work out or you're in your mirrors or clear those fucking, black mirrors, the greed always will come out. Like one addiction for another. Like, okay, you stop drinking, but then you start smoking. Okay, you stop smoking, but then you're going to go gamble your life, or you're going to, I don't know, just every day put your life out there to, well, maybe today I'll die or maybe I won't.
I think the only way that it's ever going to work is if we become a spacefaring civilization completely, because people are just going to stagnate, and it's just like, I think that's the only way, to be honest.
That's what Elon Musk is trying to do is put the people to Mars. Like that movie Interstellar, we know that people are going to go.
He's trying to be like a little overlord over.
He's trying to be like
work their way into freedom and liberty, but they're never going to have it because he's going to enslave their fucking children to pay off their fucking parents' debt, because their parents are going to be worked to death.
Yes, I
like,
see it.
A lot of people are like worshiping him. I'm like, fuck this guy. He knows about shit. How does he know about shit? Why is he talking about what the elites wanted to do? Because he's fucking working with them.
Yes. And he's not the smartest, and he's not.
He's decided to split off and do his own thing.
Yeah, that's the thing with Bitcoin and shit like that. It's like, don't buy into Bitcoin. That's like an alien technology shit. Like supposedly the real money is silver and gold here on Earth, but
I mean, out in space, I mean, they don't like. I mean, there's currency kind of, but it's like
right,
it's hypothetical. It's not. They normally trade in technology and shit.
yeah,
Like we normally trade slaves for technology. That's the currency.
that's what it is.
Workforce for toys.
Yeah, or chocolate or coffee or yeah, toys.
Yeah.
Man. Anyway, there's so much more to talk about, but thank you so much, Joseph. You didn't sleep at all and you were here and you took your energy shot. I had my 2 cups of coffee. I need more now. But thank you so much. I love you, brother, and we will get back soon. Thank you,
Yep.
Katie. We'll see you, everyone.